Now that Jay-Z and Diddy Combs have been accused of raping a 13-year-old child in 2000, they are allegedly suing the attorney who brought the case. It appears that Diddy is snitching on his co-conspirators in order to receive a lighter sentence.
A new twist in a high-profile lawsuit accuses rapper Jay-Z of raping a 13-year-old girl in 2000 alongside Diddy Combs. The lawsuit, originally filed in October, was refiled today to include Jay-Z as a defendant. The anonymous accuser claims the assault occurred at an MTV Video Music Awards after-party. Jay-Z has denied the allegations in a statement on Roc Nation's Instagram, calling the accusations heinous and urging a criminal complaint be filed instead of a civil one. He also criticized the attorney behind the lawsuit, Tony Busby, accusing him of exploiting the case for personal gain.
A new case has been filed naming Jay-Z as the defendant after Diddy's bail was denied for the third time last week. The lawsuit claims that Jay-Z raped a 13-year-old girl in 2000 at an MTV Video Music Awards after-party with Diddy Combs. The girl, named Jane Doe in the lawsuit, allegedly has proof of the encounter and is prepared to testify. It appears that Diddy has finally snitched on his best friend.
Rap and media mogul Jay-Z now accused of raping a 13-year-old girl in 2000 along with Diddy Combs. Now, this lawsuit was originally filed back in October in the Southern District of New York, listing Diddy as the defendant, but it was just refiled today to include Jay-Z now, whose real name is Sean Carter. Of course, he's the husband of Beyonce. The anonymous accuser alleging the assault occurred after she was driven to an after-party following the MTV Video Music Awards. The suit says she was offered a drink that made her feel, quote, woozy, lightheaded, and felt like she needed to lie down. Shortly after, the suit claims Jay-Z and Diddy entered the room where she was resting, eventually sexually assaulting her. And now, just in the last hour, we are hearing from Jay-Z and his team of lawyers. They are denying the claim and say that they are the victims of blackmail, saying, quote, I will not give you one red penny, and my only heartbreak is for my family. Joining us now to break this all down as it's happening, News Nation Law and Justice contributor, former FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffindoffer. Jennifer, thanks for staying with us on this.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
And so we just received a response from the victim's lawyer, really just in the last few minutes. Take a look. This is on social media. A lawyer, Tony Busby, saying Jay-Z has, quote, tried to bully and harass me and this plaintiff, but his conduct has had the opposite impact. He goes on to say that the allegations speak for themselves and he will let the facts come out in court, not in the media. What do you make of this real-time back and forth that we're seeing between these two parties tonight?
Well, it is interesting, and I think it's because Jay-Z came out so strongly and said, listen, I'm going to go after you, and then he filed a suit quickly on the heels of the other suit against Busby and the accuser. So because of that, you're seeing this taunting sort of back and forth in the media.
Do you believe that we may see Jay-Z face a judge? And if so, when would we see him in court? Any indication there yet?
Well, we're definitely going to see him, I believe, on this suit. There are so many details. You know, they describe a house, a driveway, another woman being there. They discuss about a driver taking her. So she's locked into this story now, and that means there could be additional witnesses to corroborate her story or refute the story.
Yeah, I know you've mentioned the specificity of the details really stand out to you in this filing. Do you find it strange that the filing originally did not include Jay-Z, just Diddy, and now Jay-Z is suddenly added today? I mean, does that make Jay-Z's addition in any way less credible, or is this not in fact so unusual?
It's not unusual when they're still digging up information and facts to prove the allegations that they're trying to make. In addition, remember, this 13-year-old says there's a female there. That has not been disclosed either. That will be very interesting because she could be culpable in this as well.
Yeah, that is interesting. Do you expect we are going to be seeing other celebrity names added and refiled in other lawsuits involving Diddy?
I do. I think this really has a web that wraps around many different people, and I think we're going to see a lot more people named.
Tell me more about the details of any potential blackmail. We do see Jay-Z and his team really coming out swinging, making that allegation. Wouldn't that be a fairly easy allegation to prove? I mean, if in fact Busby reached out trying to blackmail him, wouldn't they have the receipts for that?
Well, what happened was Busby reached out and offered a mediation session, said that his client was amenable to that. I think that is what Jay-Z is sort of extrapolating as being some sort of, extortion or bribery situation. And really, that shouldn't be seen in that light.
Jennifer Koffendorfer, I know we'll be tracking this. Appreciate your time tonight, as always.
There are facts in the lawsuit that only someone who was with Jay-Z could have explained, and it seems that Jay-Z has denied the accusations in a long response. According to a statement published a few hours ago, anyone who commits such a crime against a kid should be imprisoned. Do you not believe that these victims would receive true justice if that were the case?
Necessary court fees and litigations because Jay-Z wants me broken, stopped, or under his control. And it ain't gonna happen, Sean. I'm never gonna be under your control. Never. You need to learn how to control your wife and her friends and their mouths. Because you got Beyonce in the Beehive looking real fucking dumb right now. 5 million unfollowed, and that number's gonna go up with every image in one of those freak off tapes. And God help, if anybody here that really talks about people with her, they'll start unfollowing by the tens of hundreds. Again. And they should. Because the truth is, the only reason they were following was because of the witchcraft and the spells that were being pushed out through the media. Y'all ain't fans because y'all really love them and y'all really think they're the best. You're fans because you fell for the hype. And they are hypes. I know I can sing. I've been able to do that my whole life. And they've been trying to stop me my whole career. Because see, unlike Beyonce, I'm not willing to hurt people to get famous. See, that's the part of the story that they're not telling y'all. That the more terrible you are, the more they'll protect you.
The case's facts, interestingly, are exactly what Jaguar Wright and other accusers have been alleging all along. In October, Jaguar Wright appeared on Piers Morgan and said that Diddy and Jay-Z were abusing youngsters, but no one took her seriously. The same people that Jay-Z was pressing are now turning against him, and he is actually facing a lawsuit after sending her a stop and desist order.
For me, because for 4 years, I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. And the victim-making machine kept going on.
Jay-Z has been notable by his silence since these charges were brought against Diddy. Why do you think that is?
Because that's what he does. He starts little fires everywhere, forces everyone involved to go and carry water while he sneaks away without a response. That changes now, Sean. You must respond. You have no choice. Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common, professionally and privately. Sean Carter. This has been a fist of tyranny that has been punching through our culture and our society for decades. It must stop.
There's been obviously a lot of
Cruelty-free artistry.
Right, there's been a lot of rumor mill about what has happened in the rap world. A lot of allegations that the misogyny in the lyrics clearly was based on a general misogyny towards women away from the music. And that clearly seems to have been borne out by these charges against Diddy, which if he's found guilty of all this, he's never coming out of prison. How dangerous do you think?
Thank God.
How dangerous do you think he is as a person?
I think he's one of the most dangerous people I've ever met. A lot of people have been questioning, well, she doesn't really know him. She has no knowledge of him. She doesn't have a picture with him. I'm smarter than Claudia Jordan. I would never take a picture with the devil. Everyone knew he was the devil. He's been the devil for 30 years. He's been covered and protected by not only Clive Davis, but Lucian Grange. He was selected to be the demon that he is, to keep the culture in line so the industry could continue to rape it for all of its precious jewels. We have too many lost. The list of lost is ridiculous, and everyone knows Diddy was selected for this.
Jay-Z has consistently acted quickly to dispel any allegations made against him and his brand because he is aware that if one victim sues him, hundreds more could follow. Diddy experienced the same situation shortly after Cassie filed her case, when more than 200 victims came forward and all of them had.
See, the modern world is that pretty much everyone has a platform as long as they have something to say that other people want to hear. That's why we invited her on to be interviewed. The people making these claims have an audience with or without shows like mine. Well, Jaguar Wright unexpectedly made several serious allegations about Jay-Z and Beyonce during that interview. As I said in the moment, they were not present to respond or defend themselves, but now they have. Their lawyers contacted us to say that those claims were totally false and have no basis in fact, and we've therefore complied with the legal request to cut them from the original interview. Editing interviews is not something we do lightly at a show called Uncensored. But, like the proverbial cries of fire in a crowded theatre, there are legal limits on us too. And we apologise to Jay-Z and Beyonce. How many victims potentially do you think there could be?
Thousands. Thousands. I've talked to hundreds that I deal with still myself. I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well. They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim
Keeping
Porter?
people against their will. Putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane. Unconscious. There's a lot of things that people don't want to talk about, Pierce.
Listen, like I said, Jay-Z and Beyonce are not here, unfortunately, to respond to that.
I know. I'm just being honest with you.
You're perfectly entitled to your views, obviously. Kim Porter,
Yes.
a new book claims that Diddy may have been involved in her early death. What do you think of that?
I think people should really look into that more. I am friends with Albie Shore. I love him. I love his children. I knew Kim. We used to all hang out together at the Kit Kat Club back in the mid-90s when Diddy was first starting his reign. I watched that whole thing happen. And everything that Albert has been through, every attempt on his life that has been ignored by the authorities, it all leads back to Diddy. And everyone knows it. The wiretapping of the phones, putting AirTag on children during visits. These are normal practices that these people do.
Jaguar, I've got to leave it there. I really appreciate you joining me. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. And thank you for caring.
I do care. Thank you very much.
Even though all of her accusations were accurate, Jay-Z coerced Piers Morgan into claiming that Jaguar Wright was lying in this case, and the evidence that followed clearly demonstrates that Jaguar was correct all along.
You made a lot of allegations, right? Are you expected to eventually turn those things over, or
Well, that's what we're going to head over to do now. So we have a hearing now to determine what we're going to do in terms of what documents we'll have to turn over and what documents we do not have.
So why were you in court today?
Just to give testimony to the grand jury. He was subpoenaed by the court. So as we all know, if you don't answer a subpoena, the marshals will come to your house as they came to his house and they will bring you here. So that's why we're here today.
I know you can't mention celebrities per se. You did mention some in the interview. So just to clarify, you can back that up with actual factual footage.
We have, it's things that we have, but we got to go to the other courthouse. So I don't know if that's any more questions, but we got another hearing to go.
Are you nervous or do you feel cool?
Nah, I ain't never nervous. Only thing spared me is God.
So I know you did mention what was on the flash drive before. Would you be able to kind of go over that now, or is that something that you can't discuss?
No, we're trying to go to discuss that now, what we will be able to talk to in terms of what was available and what was on those flash drives.
Okay.
But it was the book,
So it is Kim Porter's book, but not necessarily some of the stuff with the celebs that were mentioned besides.
It's hers. Nobody touched it.
Oh, so it is her official book.
Yes. Nobody.
And no one touched it.
Nobody altered it.
So it's not the copy that the gentleman said that he was selling before. No.
No.
It's two different copies. That one was edited, and we have those.
It's probable that this is only the first of many cases that will be brought against Jay-Z, according to sources from police enforcement and Jaguar Wright. A growing number of recordings of celebrities directly abusing children in relation to Diddy have surfaced in recent months. It's likely that Jay-Z is on the 8 tapes that have been turned over to the FBI.
And to name people in these lawsuits, we're not going to do it in interviews. We're not going to do it, without doing our due diligence, because obviously, these types of allegations are very hurtful to people if they're not true, and very hurtful, frankly, if they are true. But if they're true, you shouldn't have been in the room and you shouldn't have been participating. So I anticipate that we're going to start filing lawsuits, and it may not be big names at first, but we have a long list of names, and you might imagine in situations like this that when a victim tells us that this person was in the room or this person participated, we want to do as much due diligence as humanly possible before we file that case, because in the United States, in almost every state, public filings are in fact public, and when you name somebody in a lawsuit, the press is going to pick it up, and we're aware of that. So we're going to make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's, and I expect that there will be some people named in these lawsuits that will raise some eyebrows.
Another instance, another minor, told allegedly by Sean Combs that he would make him a star, but needed to visit with him in private about it, away from his parents. Once they were in a private area, allegedly, Mr. Combs made the victim perform oral sex upon him. Another incident, an individual 15 years old at the time, flown to New York City to attend a party, was drugged, and then taken into a private room, allegedly in the presence of Mr. Combs, where this female individual, minor, was raped, and then other individuals took turns raping her. Another individual, 26 at the time of the occurrence, was picked up allegedly by Mr. Combs and several other people in a black SUV from the airport, was given one drink in the SUV, and then literally woke up the next day not knowing what had happened, but with pain and damage to both her vagina and her anus, where she then went to the hospital. She was missing her underwear and her shoes. Another instance, an individual, this time not a minor, attended a group dinner, allegedly with Sean Combs in Miami. She wasn't drinking because she was pregnant, but whatever she drank at the table, apparently, at least according to her, was laced with something. She blacked out, and she woke up in the same bed, again allegedly, with Mr. Combs in his mansion in Miami. Her vagina and her anus were torn.
According to Tony Busby, the attorney pursuing the lawsuit against Jay-Z, he will also name other celebrities and claims to have evidence that will implicate them all. Jay-Z is merely the first of these criminals to be brought to justice, and with over 250 documented victims, it's possible that one of the largest sex trafficking rings in Hollywood history is ready to collapse.
Song credits for writing for Al Green. Take me through them not wanting to let her in the club. She showed up to a place. Some of the people in there was loyal, but some of the people she was speaking out about, they wouldn't let her in. And she wasn't going for that. She started setting it up. She started bugging up on the guys. They had to call the police on old girl. Oh, bro. Jaguar Wright get wild, bro. And if something happened to her, I just want to tell Jaguar Wright, be careful. She just went on Piers Morgan. Beyonce and Jay-Z sent Piers Morgan a cease and desist. Made Piers Morgan publicly apologize. Today. It's about to get dangerous for a lot of people. So if you out here doing what you're doing, because y'all not me. So you better be on your P's and Q's. It's about to get ugly. This is when people start to turn up dead right now. Keep that in mind.
Jay-Z won't get away with this latest case against him, despite everything. In a frantic attempt to prevent things from getting out of control, Jay-Z has even ordered hits on those who are criticizing them. Big Homie CC claims that both Gandil and Jaguar Wright have received threats and orders to cease and help. Given that fatalities typically occur during this time, Jaguar Wright needs to be careful. Jay-Z has a violent past, but he doesn't fear the repercussions.
There are a lot of people in Hollywood who are probably worried about which Diddy parties they were at and what was going on. That's not to say that they were necessarily even involved in any of the things that are alleged by the U.S. Attorney's Office. But if you're at that party and it turns out that that's when he set up one of these freak-off sex parties, or that it was going on in another room and you didn't know about it, there's a good chance that you're going to be called by the U.S. Attorney's Office. And certainly if you were involved, you would get a call, because they're going to want to know everything you want to know, and they even want you to be a witness. I just think, we're just starting to scratch the surface of what this case, this case is going to touch and involve. And the feds have said that this remains an open investigation. There could be more charges for Diddy. There could be more charges for other people involved. And usually the way this works is once they find out other people are involved or were witnesses, they bring them in and they sort of lean on them. And it's sort of like, you're going to cooperate with us, or there's a possibility that you could face charges. So this is going to be a slow developing a case here, because we're just getting started. And I don't see how this trial begins anytime before.
It's only a matter of time until their co-conspirators start speaking against Jay-Z, who is scheduled to appear before a judge soon. There have been rumors that a number of celebrities are anxious and on the verge of escaping or working with the federal government, which is also why Diddy is attempting to contact people and requesting that they keep quiet.